This guy's a great comic, and he has traveled the globe. Originally an upstate New York boy, then came to Boston, San Francisco, L.A., New York. I think he did some stuff in Rio de Janeiro a while back. But he's here for you now. Where else but Las Vegas East? Boston, Brookline, Cablevision. Oh, the cable comedy show. Please, a nice round of applause for Mr. Dan Spencer.
Okay, that's enough of that crap. These lights aren't too bright either, because I know there's a shine bouncing right off my forehead. A lot of people think of this as balding, thinning out, receding. You know, I don't like those words. I like to think of this as extra face. I'm going to buy myself a couple of Mr. Potato Head eyes, nose, smile, put it right there. Then I can go out and have my driver's license photo taken. You know, if the cops ever pull me over for an accident, they'll look at my license and go, what the hell, which one's you? I'm thinking of letting my hair go real long, kind of like Mike McDonald's there, down around my butt, you know, like Crystal Gale maybe. Then I could just comb it over and have bangs. Bring back that Mo Howard look. Here, tell me if this doesn't remind you of a lighthouse. All right. Excellent. As Mike mentioned, my name's Dan Spencer. I grew up in a small town, upstate New York. One of these towns where like people are still driving around in customized vans listening to Uriah Heep on 8-track tape, you know? The only way to get back to my hometown is to take the time tunnel. Set it for 1973. Yeah, I remember, I never drove one of those vans in my own hometown. I drove around in my convertible. Well, you know, convertible. Actually, it was a station wagon that became a convertible when I drove it under a truck. Well, you know, I was just learning how to drive. I took the training wheels off and, you know, boom, there it was, right under the truck. And it was a nice car to have, except like in wintertime, if I want to go out for a ride, I'd have to shovel out the front seat. You know, got to be kind of a pain after a while. I live here in Boston now. Live in the Allston, Brighton, Brookline, Tri-City area. The student ghetto region, you know. And like, I live in one of these really old apartment buildings with real bad plumbing. You know the kind I'm talking about? Thank you very much. You're happy for me, aren't you? I forget what they call those buildings. Condemned. That's it. And whenever I'm in my shower, that's when everybody else in the building, all the other tenants, want to use the hot water at the same time. You know how this is? You get all lathered up with soap and somebody upstairs decides it's time to do the dishes, and you suddenly get this little drizzle coming out of the shower head, and you wait for the water pressure to come back, then suddenly it does, and it's scalding hot, and you have to readjust. Then somebody in the floor below you decides it's time to flush a toilet, and you get a smaller drizzle coming out. When that comes back, you know, it's like freezing cold, and you readjust. Then what happens? Then somebody comes into your bathroom and stabs you repeatedly with a butcher knife. Oh, man. I hate that. I got scars all over. I am sick of it. And like, what's the deal with these smoke detectors? I have a First Alert smoke detector hanging off my ceiling, right? And these things are overly sensitive, aren't they? Because like the other day, I was having this bonfire in the living room. Well, I tell you, a few smoking embers from a coffee table and that thing buzzed all night. I hate that. And you know how you lose things and they turn up underneath the cushions of your couch? I was cleaning the couch recently. I couldn't believe it. I found this old roommate I hadn't seen in years. I thought he moved. Then I got a call from the phone company. This was a couple days ago. They said, Mr. Spencer, we understand you have an outstanding bill. I said, really outstanding? Geez, thanks a lot. They said, you don't seem to understand. We're going to disconnect your phone. Disconnect? Yeah, well, I don't even have a phone, so there. Hung up. Guess that showed them. No, it worked because I stopped getting calls after that. So. I know how to take care of those people. I was standing at a bus stop. This was just today. And this older gentleman standing there, and he turns to me and says, I just missed being hit by that last bus by this much. I said, well, there's another one coming. You could try for that direct hit. He looked at me kind of weird, but sure enough, when the next bus came, he was right on target. I made sure of that. Anybody look for Halley's Comet when it was around? Did you find it? I couldn't find it. You see, they said in the paper to look for these particular constellations in the sky, okay? So I went looking for these constellations. This is where I have trouble right off the bat. The only ones I can ever find are the Big Dipper, the Little Dipper, the Moon, that's about it. I mean, I've done connect the dots before, but you got to be pretty seriously screwed up in the head to look up in the sky and see a figure like Sagittarius, which is what? It's half a horse, half a man with a bow and arrow. Where the hell is that? How do you see these things? And this is what astrology is based on? Well, if that's the case, we can make up our own astrological symbols. Who would care? We'll just connect any 4 stars in the sky. Let's call that symbol Jojo the Squirrel Boy. Sure, we'll connect these 7 stars. We'll call that Heinrich the Nazi Lawnmower. Yeah, if you look real closely, you can see a Gestapo uniform on top of a John Deere tractor. Yeah, right. If somebody asks you what your sign is, just make one up. Are you an Aquarius? No, I'm a Jingo the plastic sea monkey. I don't believe in astrology, but that's because I'm an Aries, and Aries don't believe in astrology. I was down in New York City recently myself. Yeah? You like New York? New York's too frantic for me. It's too frantic for me. I try to explain to my parents what it's like. They've never been there, right? And I tell them the best analogy I can give is that it's kind of like that last scene of the Jetsons where George is taking Astro out for a walk in that revolving thing. That's how frantic it is. It's like, Jane, stop this crazy thing! That's Manhattan to me. And I'm scared of New York. I carry mace around with me, but I'm one of those concerned citizens. You know how a mace comes in an aerosol can? Well, I'm concerned about the fluorocarbons in the atmosphere. That's why I buy mace in a roll-on. Much easier that way. Just rub it and run. And it dries faster, too. Where else have I been traveling? When I travel to New York, I usually take the really cheap airlines, or inevitably during the flight, the pilot has to ask for directions. Excuse me, passengers, we're kind of lost. Can anyone find the North Star? Yeah, it's up there in Jingo, the plastic sea monkey. It forms the apex of that one. I had this bad dream, right? I dreamt I was on the game show Jeopardy, which isn't so bad in itself, but I dreamt that I heard the announcer saying, now here's the star of Jeopardy, Alex Trebek. And Alex Trebek comes out and says, hello, studio audience, hello, contestants. Our returning champion, Dan Spencer, is with us once again. And there I was behind one of the podiums, right? He says, let's get running away with today's categories, and they are potent potables, sports, guys named Jesus, periods in history, and our final category, people who make you barf. And he turns to me, he says, Dan, our returning champion, select the first category, please. And I said, well, Alex, let's try people who make you barf for 10. He says, the answer is Las Vegas singer known for his sleazy mustache, ding ding, yes, Dan, who is Wayne Newton. He says, correct, Dan, continue. Okay, Alex, let's take people who make you barf for 20. And the answer is, she wants to be energized, ding ding, yes, Dan, who is Mary Lou Retton. Correct, Dan, continue. Let's take barf for 30. He recorded such hits as I Write the Songs and Mandy, ding ding, yes, Dan, who is Barry Manilow. I think we've hit the daily double. Thanks a lot for being a great audience. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Dan Spencer.